before they prophesy, before they go deeper, they have a tendency of wiping their eyes or their faces with this white cloth, this white towel. And most of you have been asking, Prof, what is the spiritual significance of that act? Why do they always wipe their faces or their eyes first before they go deeper? Before they start shouting, can I prophesy? Can I go deeper? I receive plenty of these messages. This one in particular, the brother is asking, these prophets have a white towel, always. They always wipe their face. What's on that white towel? What is on that white towel? There is one universal ritual that all your prophets, all of them, have to practice, regardless of where they operate from or regardless of other covenants that they signed up for. But there's one specific ritual, and that is of sex immorality. They have to get involved with as many women as possible. They have to be constantly pouring out their seed. And here is the interesting part. They just don't pour out their seed. Their seed is demon possessed. It's contaminated. What counts are the fluids that come from the opposite, sex, from the females. In most cases, I know most of you have never had conversations with some of the victims of these prophets, but all of them attest to this fact that after the act, they always take this particular white towel, warm white towel, and wipe them. They wipe them as if they are practicing hygiene, or as if they are just clean beings who are just rendering this service to the lady. But no, they are literally collecting the life force of a woman. They are literally wiping off the fluid of that particular woman. And when I tell people that on a daily basis, they probably engage with more than 5 on a daily basis, it sounds like it's out of the ordinary. And if there are men out there, they will be questioning, come on, where do they get the power? How are they able to go along with 5 different women in a day? I told you when they go to Ghana, they are locked up in rooms, dark rooms, for 3 consecutive nights. And the godfathers take turns on them. They make them pick up the soap. In that process, fluids are being transferred from the godfathers to the spiritual father of yours. And those fluids that are being transferred to your spiritual fathers, they are forming a union with the spiritual fathers. It's more like a spiritual transaction that is happening between the godfathers and your spiritual father and your prophets. That spiritual transaction is binding. It makes them become the monsters that have or rely on the fluids or on the pleasure of engaging with multiple women countless times. They develop this insatiable appetite for engaging with different women. And it's not because of their desire or their, default ages to get satisfaction, but that spiritual connection that they had with the godfathers, that demon, that spirit that has now possessed your spiritual father, it lives on the fluids of women. Most of you do not understand. You do not understand how sacred your fluids are. You don't. You have no idea. There are pastors like Chris Oyakilome who actually encourage their members to constantly practice. They call it self-help or something like that. Self-service. Those ones who are not in relationships, they actually encourage them. Medical researches are sponsored by big organizations to make publications that are in alignment with the benefits of self-servicing yourself. The agenda behind all that nonsense is so that you lose your life force constantly. There are no benefits of self-servicing yourself. There are no proven medical benefits of you constantly releasing your life force. There are none. But here is where the catch is. Every time you release, every time you lose your life force, and by life force I mean the fluids that you release when you are having this pleasure with someone that is of opposite sex, those fluids, they contain your divine personality. Every time you release, you are dimming your spiritual light. I actually wrote an entire book about the concept, about the importance of self-preservation and why you should retain your fluids at whatever cost, which breaks down the spiritual implications. I'll probably publish it at the end of the year, but for the sake of people that need to be guided at the moment, I'll try to compress it just so that I can deliver a short guideline, a short ebook guideline, just so that you can have an idea of what I'm talking about in detail. Don't engage in any activities. The Bible highlights the importance of your purity and holiness in many verses. Your body is the temple of God. Please do not give away your seeds on a regular basis. Let me go back to answering the question that the brother asked. So whenever they engage with women, they carry a white towel with them. They wipe the women after the act, after the event. They keep that towel. Of course, it will dry up, it will become a little bit warm, but they are literally practicing a ritual. They are taking the life force that contains the divine personality of that particular human being or that particular sister or brother that they've engaged with, because some of them are double adapters. And by virtue of them having collected the divine essence contained in your fluids, you don't understand the power of those fluids. Those fluids, for the past 2.5 years, I myself have been on a journey of self-preservation, of cutting off anything that can trigger my urges and avoid the release of my fluids, just so that I can have this spiritual awareness. The majority of you are walking spiritually blind in darkness simply because you haven't learned, or it has not been preached to you, the importance of preserving yourself and the importance of retaining that sacred fluid. That sacred fluid has the power to form life, to create life. Anytime you give it on casual basis to feel pleasurable, you realize one thing, that there is this feeling of emptiness that follows. There is this fatigue that follows because an entire life has been drawn out of you. Do an audit of the last releases that you have done over the years. That's when you know why you are spiritually blind. That's when you know why you lack the spirit of discernment. That's when you know why your spiritual antennas have been blocked. Because that fluid is supposed to enhance your spiritual awareness. When you retain it and have that energy converted, it goes all the way up through the 7 chakras of your spinal cord until it reaches the pineal gland, which is often confused or related to as the third eye. And it is that cosmic antenna that has the capacity to connect with all the dimensions of the spiritual realms. And every time you let go of that fluid, you are sabotaging the vital nutrients that are supposed to nourish your spiritual awareness, which is connected to your pineal gland. It's a very long discussion that I wish we can have, and I said I'll do a short ebook to just make you understand the spiritual consequences of letting go of your sacred fluid, of the life force that you contain. When God created man, he breathed into his nostrils and gave him life. That fluid contains that divine personality of God. In his image, we were all created. all that God did, we can also become gods and create life. But we can't breathe in anything and create life. We can only create life by releasing that sacred fluid. Engaging with women or with a man is not meant for pleasure. It's only meant for procreation. That's why it should be practiced within the boundaries of marriage. The Bible highlights that within the boundaries of marriage, only for procreation. But an agenda has been spread that we can do it casually. And you've been doing it casually. Your life has not been moving simply because you've been suppressing and closing down and wasting the life force that should enhance you in attaining a higher divine status. The media preaches that images that they keep on exposing you to, they stay up, trigger your edges, and you end finding yourself in relate. Why should you do those things for fun? You shouldn't engage for fun unless if it is for procreation. I keep veering away from the question that I was asked. So it is that fluid that they wipe from the life force of the woman that they keep on that towel. And during prophecy time, they will start saying, can I go deeper? Can I prophesy? They wipe their faces with that towel that contains the fluids of the stars, the spiritual, divine connection of those individuals. And that divine personality in that fluid, it opens you up. I don't know if you've heard concepts about the book of life, the Akashic records, which are considered to be a universal intelligence that contains the history of every human being, that contains the future of every human being, that contains the universal consciousness of all the souls combined. So when someone has access, or if someone can understand, the prophets, when they do it, they don't even understand what they are doing, but it works for them. Because when they wipe themselves with that divine essence that they would have wiped away from young ladies that they engage with, they kind of get into this realm of tapping into the history of this divine intelligence that exposes them or that reveals to them the history of any particular individual that they might come across. But they are limited to the history only. That's why no prophet will ever prophesy about your future. They can only tell you about things that happened. That is the limit of that fluid that they would have used as a ritual. They are given this condition to practice, but they don't even know what is happening. They just believe that if they do this as they were told by the godfathers of Benin, it's going to work. The godfathers of Benin understood things that the majority of you might not even understand, but they are misusing the intelligence and the knowledge that they have about life to corrupt masses. Knowledge is good, but if it is in the hands of the wrong disseminator, it can be used for the evil, or it can be used for the good. So these prophets are just being told that, okay, engage with as many, and if you want to prophesy, just keep on doing this so that your powers will remain with you. The demons that they put in them will work at full capacity. So when they wipe, they get a revelation about someone's past, things that they have happened, and they start telling people, this is what happened. There is an uncle, there is a grandfather, or what that did this at what point did that. Yeah, it's being revealed by the power, the divine spiritual connection that is being enhanced by those fluids that they keep collecting and wiping off from these young sisters. And they start going deep. And you think it is being revealed by the Holy Spirit. No, it's not being revealed by the Holy Spirit. They are using the fluids of these young sisters for rituals to get revelation. So the spirit of the occultic Benin fathers that was imparted into your spiritual father, injected into your spiritual fathers when they were picking up the soap, combined with those fluids that they have, they get into a different realm. As soon as they wipe themselves, their faces, their eyes, they get in a different realm because it's now the connection. There's an alignment between that dark force, that dark energy that connects them and binds them with the godfathers of Benin. And that's the divine essence in the fluids that they would have wiped themselves with. So now they start seeing, downloading information from the past of human beings, of people, within that congregation. They'll start going deeper. Yeah, so that is what that tower does to those that really want to know. But there's power in your fluids, my people. Don't let them loose easily like that. That's why your preachers don't even preach about holiness anymore. Because some of them know and they choose not to. Some of them belong to cults that constantly remind them that do not touch on the issue of men and women preserving themselves. Do not touch on the aspect of holiness. Just keep on preaching prosperity. And no one is being advised to maintain their purity, to maintain their holiness, so that they can have a divine connection, so that they can establish or enhance their divine personalities. In the Bible, it writes that we are. Don't you know that you are gods? Because we have the power to create life. There's only one way we create life: when we let go of our flaws. There's a lot that should be discussed about this particular subject. And I believe in that short book that I'll give you, my people, you get to know and understand a lot of things that are of importance in as far as your divine essence or your divine personality is concerned. So till I meet you again on the next episode of the Light series, Mr. PDT, and I'm out.